welcome back to the GM. I'm your guy, Boulanger, and I want to welcome you to this Super Bowl Sunday. Although the Baltimore Ravens are not in the Super Bowl tonight, I want to encourage you guys, man, to, still enjoy yourselves, man. Get your chips and dips, your burgers, your wings, your hot dogs, your barbecue, uh, your beverages, and, man, hang out with your family and friends, man, and just enjoy yourself. Um, but the purpose of this video, man, is I want to deal with some criticism that's on the way for Lamar Jackson. And that criticism is that Jalen Hurts is better than Lamar Jackson, right? Earlier this year, when the playoffs started, and we could hear the Philadelphia Eagles rounding in the form, getting into Super Bowl mode. I heard somebody say that this is what they thought Lamar Jackson would become. Speaking of what you see from Jalen Hurts, okay? And so that seed was planted. And what's going to happen is when Jalen Hurts wins the Super Bowl tonight, which is what I believe happens tonight, when Jalen Hurts wins the Super Bowl, that kind of commentary will get louder about Lamar Jackson. Okay. And but what I'm here to tell you guys in Ravens Nation is that that's a false narrative. When you compare quarterbacks, you have to compare apples to apples. And what that means is quarterback play to quarterback play. But then you have to also look at what's around that quarterback. And so I took a deep dive into the numbers and compared the 2022 season um, of Baltimore for the 2022 season for the Philadelphia Eagles. And what I'll tell you is that the numbers were astounding. So let me do a comparison just really quickly to kind of show you that this criticism is not taking everything into consideration. Okay, so number one, passing. Lamar Jackson only played in 12 games. He threw for over 2,200 yards, which is about 190 yard per game pace. Okay. And then when you jump down and you see Tyler Huntley, he played 6 games, started 4. He threw for about 760 yards. Now, the reason why I mentioned Tyler Huntley is because of what I'm going to tell you about Gardner Minshew, which is really kind of give some detail into how good the team is around Jalen Hurts. So Jalen Hurts threw for over 3,700 yards as a starting passer. He played in 15 games, 3 games more than Lamar. But Gardner Minshew played in 5, but he started 2 games. He threw for over 670 yards. Now, the reason why that's important is because Gardner Minshew threw for 90 less yards, but played in only 2 games. Tyler Huntley played in 3 times the games of Gardner Minshew, which means he had 3 times the opportunity. And what that says is when your backup produces numbers on the pace of the starter, that means the team around them is really really good because there's no fall off at the quarterback position. But we know that there was severe fall off for Tyler Huntley. But let's not stop there. Let's go run a rushing game for rushing game. Okay, in Philadelphia, um, the top 2 runners. Number one was Miles Sanders. He rushed for almost 1,300 yards, which means they have a number one running back who was able to carry the load. Okay, Jalen Hurts came in at a distant 760 yards, which means he didn't have to be the number one passer, the number one rusher, and the number one playmaker. Let's go to Baltimore. Uh, Lamar Jackson, number one rusher. No surprise, he's been a number one rusher for the last 3 years, but he rushed for 764 yards in only 12 games, which means he outrushed Jalen Hurts with 3 less games. Okay, that's number one. Number two, the second running back for his yardage was J.K. Dobbins with under 600, which means Miles Sanders rushed for as many yards as the Ravens' top 2 rushers. You understand what I'm saying? And then the top 2 rushers for Philadelphia rushed for more yards than the top 3 rushers in Baltimore. And what that says is the whole team around them, specifically offensively, is much better than what was in Baltimore. And of course, the OC has a lot to do with that. But now let's jump down to the real number that really highlights this. When you get down to the receiving, AJ Brown caught almost 90 passes for almost 1,500 yards. Devontae Smith caught 96 passes for over 1,300 yards. That means their top 2 wide receivers caught for over 2,700 yards, which almost doubles the top receiver, the whole entire receiving corps for the Baltimore Ravens. Now let's go to Dallas Goedert, who is their number one tight end, who is our number one receiver, in Mark Andrews at the same position is what I mean. Dallas Goedert caught for 700 yards, basically 699. Mark Andrews only caught for 60 more yards at 763 or 767, something like that. What that says is, man, that the talent around Jalen Hurts was superior to the talent around Lamar Jackson. Now, we've been belaboring that all year long, but the reason why I'm pointing this out right now is because the criticism is on the way. The comparison for Lamar and Jalen Hurts is not really a comparison. It's an unfair comparison because if we really get down to the numbers and we look at how their career started, they both were Heisman Trophy winners. Or Heisman Trophy candidates in college. They both were drafted to teams who already had Super Bowl winning quarterbacks. Neither one started uh, in their rookie years in Game One. They both took over the starting roles as the rookie seasons progressed. Okay, Lamar Jackson took a huge leap, won the MVP in his second year, and Jalen Hurts took a huge leap and was an MVP candidate, and now is in the Super Bowl in his third year. But you have to begin to look at the talent that was around Jalen Hurts versus the talent that was around Lamar Jackson. There is absolutely no comparison. And so when you look at it in totality, right? You have to ask, okay, what does it mean if Jalen Hurts won Super Bowl and Lamar hasn't even got there? It means nothing because Jalen Hurts was put into a better position. He has a better offensive line. He has superior wide receivers, and he really has a superior defense. Oh, wait a minute. I'm stepping on Baltimore Ravens toes. No, I'm not. Let me prove this to you. Um, when it was time for Marlon Humphreys to get paid, they gave him $90 million. They brought in Marcus Williams, $70 million. They brought in Roquan Smith, $100 million. You put those numbers together, that's $260 million in total contracts, which takes up a huge portion of the salary cap. Okay, but when you go over to Philadelphia, okay, Philadelphia doesn't have a $90 million corner, and they still have a top three defense. Philadelphia doesn't have a $70 million safety, still have a top three defense. They don't have a $100 million linebacker, as the Baltimore Ravens do. So why did Philadelphia get so good? Because they drafted well and they hit on their draft picks. And that's something the EDC has not done. He has not hit on draft picks. And so when you don't hit on draft picks, you have to go out and get guys and pay them a higher wage in order to get them to fill a role that you need. And that's what the difference is. The Philadelphia Eagles from top to bottom have been better at the GM position, better at drafting, better at spreading out their cap space, better at putting players in the right positions to win, and better at going out and acquiring talent. Think about this. Philadelphia goes out and get a number one wide receiver paying more than $100 million. But Baltimore goes out and gets a number one linebacker and pays him $100 million. But look at the productivity. You see what I'm saying? See, we have to look at the organization for organization, and we know that Philadelphia has a Super Bowl since Baltimore has won the Super Bowl, and may have two since Baltimore won their last Super Bowl. And so what that says is, man, Philadelphia has done it the right way. They've hit on a lot of the decisions, and Baltimore has come up short. So when you start hearing that criticism about Lamar Jackson, I want you to I want you to look at the numbers, man. Go to CBS Sports, man. Pull up the numbers yourself. Take a look, man, and you'll have a real clue on what happened. All right. So listen, appreciate you guys. Let me know what you want me to know about the video, man. Let me know what you think about the content. If you like this kind of content, man, I can keep bringing it to you. Hit the like button, hit subscribe, man. Share it with a friend. Again, I'm your guy Boulanger. This is the GM, and I'm out.